Hi folks, Tim Sundles here. We're at our Idaho office, and this is going to be part 5 of our more or less kind of comprehensive series on the 357 mag for multiple applications and some of the different rifles and some of the different handguns involved. And everybody said they wanted to see me shooting, so I don't know why that bores me because I do it for a living. But anyway, where else can you live? I mean, where else can you live? I mean, show them this place, babe. I can put my guns on the tailgate of my truck in my driveway, and I get to shoot right here. And the only problem it creates is there's brass all over my driveway. So I'll get the big push broom out in a month or so, and I'll probably sweep several thousand pieces of brass off the driveway. Okay, let's talk about, here's the Marlin, a modern Marlin, fairly modern, and this is the guide gun version, and I showed it to you in part 4. Now I'm going to shoot it. This gun has what I believe is an old XS aperture sight on it. Anymore, I use Skinner sights. I like Andy Larson, who owns Skinner sights, and aside from that, he just makes a superior, wonderful product. The problem is I have a lot of lever guns with XS sights or even Williams sights because I was doing this long before Skinner sights was around. But to give you an idea, and there's also been a little bit of confusion about AR-550 and these things punching through them. It appears that some of the steel plates I was sold as AR-550 were AR-500. That's how it's looking. And I'm going to shoot some AR-550 with these today, and I haven't done it yet today. So I don't know. We'll see if they punch through. But everybody says that these carbine velocities, which are a little over 2,000 feet a second or around 2,000 feet a second with these bullets, everybody says they shouldn't punch through. So they have with me, but it may not have been AR-550 that I purchased. So let's start with the Marlin. I'm probably going to talk even louder because I'm going to be deaf. So we have the heart out here, and with these carbines, I'm going to shoot at 25 meters. So, because they're a lot easier than a handgun, they're meant for longer ranges than a handgun, and so I'm going to show you a couple of tactical advantages to using one of these little carbines as a defensive weapon, as kind of a tactical weapon, without all the black plastic and the high capacity magazines. So here's 25 meters to our orange heart. And by the way, this rifle is short in the stock for my wife or for teenagers or younger kids. So this does not fit me, which I shoot so many guns it really doesn't affect me. Now here's the fun part. So I just fired 5 rounds because I'm faced with a home invasion, and they've all scattered, but they're still here. So I lower my hammer, put it on half cock. Now I'm safe. And while they're patching up their wounds or gathering their senses, look what I'm doing. Now this gun is not out of commission as I reload it. It's ready to go. All I got to do is cock the hammer. And this little 16-inch carbine holds 8 in the magazine tube, plus 1 in the chamber. But so I've just reloaded my gun, and all of a sudden, the gangsters come at me again. I just cocked the hammer. Okay. Now there's still one of them that's a threat, that's still alive. I lower my hammer, put it on half cock, reach in my pocket, put a few more rounds in this because this fight isn't over yet, and I don't intend for my wife to be raped or brutalized. I don't intend to be killed, so I reload when I get the chance. And this is our item 19C. It's a 158 grain spear gold dot. It's moving around 2,100 or 2,200 feet a second out of this little carbine. But I never had to disable my gun to load it back up. If your only option to load is the loading tube, you literally have to disable your gun to load it. So now the final guy rushes me. My gun's not disabled. I just cock it and teach him a lesson he'll never forget because he's done remembering anything. So this is the advantage to loading through a load gate, and that's how tactical these little guns can be. They're actually pretty cool, but what you have to do is make sure you don't shoot stuff loose on them with full power loads. This little gun, if I was to put our item 19A in it, would be fine for grizzly bears. You know, I would still like more, but you could, especially interior grizzly bears, you could kill pretty easily with our item 19A loaded into this. So let's go back over to the truck, and you'll notice I'm on half cock. The gun is totally safe. Here's a Taylor's & Company made by Choppa, and it's a Taylor's & Company Model 92, somewhat stronger than the Model 94 Marlin, which isn't an issue. I like this gun. I've been shooting it this morning quite a bit, and I think I'm going to take this sight off and send it over to Skinner Sights and ask Andy to install one of his large apertures back here. It'll give me another 6-8 inches of sight radius and just a more precise and every bit as fast aiming system. But again, we've got the same thing as the Model 1894 Marlin, only this is a 20-inch barrel, so the magazine tube holds 10 rounds, not 8 rounds. And the only advantage in 357 I see to the longer barrel is a little bit longer sight radius. You do get the muzzle blast, you know, another 4 inches away from your ears and your face, and it holds 2 more rounds. And if it's worth it to you to carry around the extra 2 inches of length, then go with 20 inches. Any longer than that in 357, and you're starting to really slow your bullets down from barrel drag, which I talked about in part 4. So here we go. And again, you can't short stroke these. I just short stroked it because I knew I was going to stop shooting. Again, hammer goes back, pull the trigger, lower the hammer all the way down gently, and put it on half cock. And a lot of people have questioned why I lower the hammer all the way down and then put it on half cock. It's a half cock, folks. It's not a half lower cock. You want to make sure that it's absolutely positive. Rather than trying to get it to catch up here, I lower it all the way down and then I place it on half cock. It's just a much more positive function of the system. And again, all the bad guys took cover, so I take advantage of that to load my rifle.
You're still in fear of your life?
Oh, whoops. Here comes one of them. Quick, shoot. So my rifle is never disabled when I'm refilling it through the the side gate. Anyway, and my wife made a comment, but I can't hear, so I have no idea what she said. Anyway, that's it for the rifles. Now, Also in parts 1 through 4, I got multiple questions as to why I didn't have a GP100 on the table. Well, my GP100 is at a friend's house and has been for a couple of years. So I was at a gun shop and saw one of these right here in town, and I bought it. This is the match champion, and what I like about it is no full underlug and side slab barrel, so it's much lighter than your typical GP100. Not only that, these grips fit my large hand quite well. If grips are curling up toward the trigger guard, I can't get my hand on them. I have a huge hands, but this kind of grip is perfect. So we'll talk about this Colt Viper in a minute, but just for grip illustration, that doesn't fit my hand at all. My hands are too big. It crowds me. The grip needs to be tilted back at an angle instead of tilted forward for guys with big hands. And I suspect this would only fit small-handed kids or small-handed women maybe. We'll get into this Colt Viper because it's a gun worth having. So since this would be a woods gun for me, and since we live in grizzly country, that's the load I'm going to carry it with. And I shot it with it this morning. It shoots it really well. It's a very powerful load. It's our #1 selling 357 Magnum load. And it's just a 180 grain with a gas check, very hard bullet. It's a 21-22 BHN bullet. The GP100 is a 6-round gun. It's kind of a mid-size frame like a Smith & Wesson L frame. And it's just a very tough gun. You can't wear these out. You can shoot all the hot loads you want. The gun will take it. The gun's not going to loosen up on you. Very beefy gun. So let's get a little closer like we're doing bear defense. For me, bear defense, since I've been involved in bear defense, and since my wife has seen me do bear defense, i.e. a headshot on a bear she wounded that charged, and that was probably at 3 yards or so where I shot that bear. But bear defense, this is 15 yards to that heart. Well, 15 yards is actually probably too far for bear defense. It's probably going to be 5 yards or under, or even 1 to 2 feet, especially if the bear's on top of you. But this gun, this is the heaviest 357 Magnum load you can buy in the world. I mean, by heavy, I mean powerful. Yeah, it's got a heavy 180 grain bullet designed not to expand for deep penetration, but still, this you can shoot 200 grain bullets out of these, but they don't stabilize in all guns. So I stick with the 180s. They stabilize in all guns. And out of this gun, it's 1,450 feet a second. Out of the little carbines, it's running around 1,850, maybe 1,900 even, depending on the gun. So in a bear defense situation, I'm still probably going to shoot single action, but I can shoot double action. Like I said, this is too far, but here it is. Or you can go double action. And here's the problem with full-length 357 mag brass. That ejector only ejects them that far. 38 special brass generally falls free just with the ejector. It's not a major issue, but it just depends on how fast you want to do reloads. So follow me back to the truck. And by the way, this is a gun I would carry. I mean, I like the lightweightness of it. Generally, GP100s have been too heavy for me, but this thing is very nice. And unlike modern, currently made Smith & Wessons, my sights adjust. Everything works on this gun. You know, if you've watched my Smith & Wesson rant about the Model 69, you know, freaking sights wouldn't adjust. This thing has a lot of adjustment vertically and horizontally in the sights. The front sight is also the right height to be mid-range in the adjustment of the rear sight. It's the way a gun ought to be made. And I'm so upset with the new Smith & Wessons, I won't even buy any to test against this because they have issues. Their quality control sucks. This thing's made right. I'm very impressed with this lighter weight version of the GP100. Now, I also bought this last week. This is a Colt Viper in 357 mag. I probably wouldn't use it very much for an outdoor gun because it has a fixed rear sight. But what's really cool is that fixed rear sight and the way the gun is made is actually working with both 38 special and 357 mag loads, the full power 357. It's really a nice gun. It's made on the little D frame, the same thing that their 38 specials are made on, you know, like the old Diamondbacks, the Colt Agents. But technology in steel and the understanding of internal moving revolver parts has made it so they can make this small frame in 357 mag. And unlike the Smith & Wesson J frame, which I love, as long as it's not a new one, this holds 6 rounds. The J frame holds 5. And when you're getting down in round count around 5 or 6, one more matters. Now, if I was going to carry this in town, which I would shoot these 38 special hard cast wad cutters. They're item 20D. If I was going to carry this socially, that's what I would use in it. If I was going to carry it outdoors, I'd be using this in it. Now, this morning, I fired this gun with this load, and it handles them just fine. You know, and for such a tiny little lightweight gun, it's just shocking. However, my hand doesn't handle it fine. My hand's shaking so bad from all the nerve damage I've done to it in the last 45 years of doing this. But this little gun here, I'm very impressed with. And because it doesn't have an adjustable rear sight, like I said, I would shy away from using it in the outdoors. I like a better sight picture of an adjustable sight, and I like the adjustable sight so I can adjust it to work with any load I want. This thing happens to work with the heavy outdoorsman load as well as the 38 special load. It's sighted in for them. I don't know how Colt did that, but I like it. And you don't really want to carry an adjustable sighted gun in a purse or a pocket. Last week, I was at the grocery store and a lady I know approached me and she goes, "Tim, I've been watching your YouTube videos. You want to see my gun?" And we're in the grocery store, but it's Salmon, Idaho, right? So we walk outside after she pays for her groceries and she pulls her gun out of her purse, and I watched the rear sight sort of snag on her purse holster. Not bad, but you know, enough to be a problem if you were in a big hurry. And she had a 3-inch J-frame loaded with our ammo, and she was showing it to me. And you know, I would carry this in a purse or a pocket because it doesn't have an adjustable sight. The fact that it shoots so well with a fixed sight, I'd probably carry it outdoors too. I'd like a little more forgiving sight picture. So if we go to bear defense range, which is 15 yards, the neat thing about these short-barreled guns, if you do end up on your back with a bear on top of you, you can just start yanking the trigger, and you know, you want to shoot him here and put it up into his brain, shoot him there into his brain, shoot him here into his brain. That's what you want to do to get a bear's brain and stop them with something as small as a 357 Magnum. Everybody thinks 357s are this powerful big deal. They're not. Can I kill a grizzly bear with one? Abso-freaking-lutely, if I know what I'm doing and I do my part. And I like them better than a semi-auto if the bear's on top of me, because I'm going to shove that barrel into the bear here or whatever. And I'm going to start yanking the trigger, probably double action if I have a double action. If you do that with a semi-automatic, you'll push your barrel out of battery, the gun will go click, and you're going to be in a world of hurt. So that can't happen with revolvers. So here we are at the 15-meter mark, and I know I just used this crack in the concrete. If I go 2 feet in front of the crack, I'm at 15 meters. So anyway, I'm just going to shoot this one double action. And look at that, the brass falls free with an even a shorter extractor than the 4-inch gun had. This is a 3-inch barrel. So 38 special falls free. Better than the 357 does, because the 357's longer. Let's go inside for a quick minute, and I'll just show you some close-ups of these 2 new 357 revolvers I have. That really deserved inclusion and in our series here. And we will basically conclude the 357 series. So let's head on indoors. Hi folks, Tim Sundles here, just finishing up part 5 on the 357. I wanted to show you these 2 new revolvers that I fired outside and show you the virtues and how they compare to a Smith & Wesson counterpart. So this little Viper, Colt Viper, 6-shot 357, I'm super impressed with the heavy 357 mag loads or the 38 special loads. Very impressive. Here's its counterpart in the J-frame Smith & Wesson. And you'll notice the J-frame has 5 holes in the cylinder, not 6. I love the J-frame with this adjustable sight for outdoor carry. I don't really like it for purse or pocket carry with that snaggy adjustable sight on it. These are both very strong revolvers. You can shoot full power 357 loads in them. And interestingly, although the Viper is a little bit bigger in the frame and in the cylinder, the Viper weighs 1 ounce less, because the Smith & Wesson has this full-length barrel lug, whereas the Viper doesn't. And I would carry either of these without complaints. The one major advantage to the Viper is 6 shots versus 5. When your round count is as low as 5 or 6, 1 extra matters. Now, to this GP100, I've never even seen one of these match champion GP100s before, but again, no full underlug and a slabbed barrel. Takes several ounces off this gun. I really like it. Here is its Smith & Wesson counterpart in the L-frame. It's the mountain gun. The mountain gun has one advantage. It holds 7. And that's an advantage. I don't care what anybody says. When your round count is this low, 1 extra is an advantage. Which one weighs the most? Oh, they're close. The GP100 might be a couple ounces. I would carry this GP100 in a hip holster in the mountains. If I get into longer barreled guns and heavier guns, I prefer a shoulder holster. And even for these shorter, lighter guns, I like a shoulder holster just because it's out of the way. Which one would I choose if I had to carry one in the hills? This is an older Smith & Wesson. I really like it. The sights actually adjust. Imagine that. I'd probably pick the Smith & Wesson just for the 7-shot cylinder. That's just an advantage. But there are no flies in the ointment on this GP100. It's really nice. Has a nice double action trigger pull, nice single action pull, good functioning adjustable sights. So just to wrap up, that is what I wanted to show you about some of these new 357s. And I'll conclude this by saying God bless, and Kim and I are going to go do something fun for the rest of our day. See you on the next video.